This is my quad exercise tier list. I hope that Tom Plates will be proud of me. Let's start by differentiating the high bar and the low bar squat, because there is a very big difference between those two. As you can see by the name, the high bar squat is done with the bar placed higher up on your back, so in the upper trap zone. And when you are doing the low bar squat, you place the bar on your rear delts. You might think that this little difference doesn't matter at all, but the difference is actually gigantic, because when you use the high bar variation, you allow your torso to be more upright, which is going to emphasize your quads, which is exactly what you want. On the other hand, if you use the low bar variation, your torso is going to be leaning forward a lot more than if you did the high bar variation, which is going to emphasize your glutes and hamstrings. That's why I would almost never recommend doing the low bar squat. If you want bigger quads, then do the high bar variation, and if you want bigger hams and glutes, simply do something like a Romanian deadlift. So the high bar squat goes into the S tier, and the low bar squat goes into the C tier. Next exercise is the front squat. This is a very good squat variation, but the problem with it is that the learning curve is very steep. So if you have never done a front squat in your life and you try to do it for the first time, you will be probably extremely confused, because the technique takes some time to learn. But if you put in the time to learn the technique, it's a great exercise. But you also have to keep in mind that you might experience some wrist pain while doing the front squat. It all depends on your wrist flexibility. Do I think that the front squat is better than the high bar squat? It's close, but I don't think so. In the end, it's all up to your personal preference, but the front squat is definitely not very beginner friendly. Considering all of this, I'm going to put the front squat in the A tier. Next on the list is the pistol squat. This exercise can be useful if you are doing home workouts or calisthenic workouts. But we all know that if you do calisthenics, you don't train your legs anyway. In all seriousness, the pistol squat will never be a good exercise in the context of bodybuilding in a fully equipped gym. It can be used in niche cases, like bragging about how you can do a squat on one leg, but other than that, I don't really see the use for it. For that reason, it's going into the D tier. Now let's take a look at the goblet squat. The goblet squat is a great exercise for beginners, as it will help you to learn how to squat. But that's pretty much all the goblet squat is good for. Once you know how to squat properly, you will move on from this exercise, because you are limited by how much weight you can hold in your hands and not by how strong your quads are. The goblet squat is going into the C tier. Next exercise is the leg press. Leg press is an awesome exercise if you actually perform it with a full range of motion. Don't be that guy that steals all the plates from the gym and then puts 2 pianos and a bulldozer on top of it because all the plates were simply not heavy enough. If you don't feel the urgency to move pianos, then the leg press is a great exercise, A tier. Now let's talk about lunges. If you are going to do lunges, you should definitely do the variation where you stand in one place, instead of the walking variation, as it will be more stable. Lunges are going into the B tier. When I'm already talking about the lunges, let's take a look at the split squat, as this is a very similar movement. The only difference between lunges and the split squat is that when you do lunges, you always move your leg forward and then you move your leg back to the starting position. But when you do a split squat, your feet stay in one place. So I am also going to put the split squat into the B tier. And because you are a loyal viewer that didn't skip to the end to see the final product, I'm going to tell you about a cool technique that you can do to enhance your split squats or even regular squats. For this technique, you will need a small plate or pretty much anything else that can create an elevated surface. If you are doing a regular squat, you will put both of your heels on the elevated surface and squat that way. This will make your squats much more challenging, so you can get more out of less weight. And if you want to use this technique for something like a split squat, simply place your front foot on the elevated surface and then you can begin the rep. Thanks to this elevation, you will be able to get a way better stretch that will result in more muscle growth. But as with every advanced technique, make sure that your basics are in check first, before you start experimenting with something like this. Anyway, because I already mentioned the split squat, let's take a look at the Bulgarian split squat. The difference between a split squat and a Bulgarian split squat is that on the Bulgarian split squat, your back leg is elevated, which means that you will most likely have to use less weight than on a regular split squat. Because you can't really help yourself with the other leg. if the other leg is elevated. It's basically there just so you can keep your balance. This once again allows you to get more out of less weight, which is exactly what bodybuilding is about. That's why I'm going to put it one tier above the regular split squat, A tier. For the next exercise, I prepared the test for you. If you are a regular viewer of this channel, you will for sure know the answer. So let me ask you, in which tier does the bosu ball squat go? You have 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Oh, I see that your answer was the science-based tier. Well done, I'm proud of you. Next exercise is the Smith machine squat. You might think that this is a meme exercise, but it's actually the exact opposite. But you need to do it in a very specific way. You have to put your legs in front of your body. This would not be possible on the regular squat, but the Smith machine will make sure that you will not fall. Thanks to this technique you can get some great gains. But you know what I always say? Basics first. The Smith machine squat goes into the A tier. Next on the list is the hack squat. This is one of my favorite quad exercises, because it doesn't put any stress on your lower back, which can be a huge deal in some scenarios. This exercise is just pure quads destruction. The hack squat goes into the S tier. And the best for last. Let's take a look at the leg extension right now. I don't want to say that this is a must-do exercise, because I don't think that there is such a thing as a must-do exercise, but this is as close as it gets to a must-do exercise for the quads. It's simply one-of-a-kind exercise that allows you to isolate your quads without putting a lot of stress on the rest of your body. So if you can, you should definitely start doing leg extensions. Leg extensions go into the S tier. This concludes my quad exercise tier list. And in the end, I just want to say that if you got problems with your knees, always select the exercise that is most comfortable for you. It doesn't matter in which tier it is, the only thing that matters is that you protect your health, because that's the most important thing you got. And even if your knees are alright, always pay attention to what you are doing, because knees are a very problematic body part when it comes to injuries. If you mess them up once, you will have problems with them for the rest of your life. Do you agree with my rankings? What would you change? And are there any exercises that you think I missed? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you are interested in effective and easy to understand training plans that use all the S tier exercises, check out my website, link in the description. And as always, a big thanks to all the supporters on my Patreon. Did you like this video? Then you will for sure like this one too.